Welcome to Destination Eat Drink, the travel channel for foodies. I'm Brent Peterson. I'm an American living in Portugal, and today we're in Guimarães, Portugal, in the north of the country. And this is a city that's considered the birthplace of Portugal. In fact, behind me on that wall, you can see it says in Portuguese, "Here is the birthplace of Portugal." And the reason why this city, Guimarães, is considered the cradle of Portuguese heritage is because in the 11th century, Portugal was controlled by the Kingdom of Leon in Spain. It was under Spanish rule. Of course, the Portuguese, they didn't like that very much. They wanted to be independent. So Prince Alfonso Henrique said, we're going to be independent. But in order to do that, he had to raise an army and fight the Spanish. And it turned out that his mother, Teresa, was in control of Spain and the Spanish army. She wanted to be independent too, but she got captured by the Spanish, was forced to succumb, and so Alfonso went to war against his own mother. He won that battle that was fought right here in Guimarães, and that's why this place is considered the birthplace of Portugal, because since the 12th century, for 800 years, basically uninterrupted, Portugal has been an independent country. Imagine that, 800 years of uninterrupted independence here in Portugal. I don't know how many other countries can claim that long of a streak. Anyway, we're going to check out some of the cuisine here and some of the sites here. I've never been, and I have a lot of friends who have come here and they recommended it, so we're going to check it out and see what Guimarães has to offer. This is Pastelaria Clarinha, and they're famous for their torta de Guimarães. That's this right here. We also got the tortinha de so de Guimarães. The lady behind the counter talked me into this one as well. So these are two famous little pastries here. So we're going to give them a try. Wow. Okay. So, first of all, the crust of the torta. It looks like an empanada, right? But this is sweet. It's covered in like sugar or something. And it makes it super, super crispy on the outside and sweet. On the inside, egg yolk, sugar, and squash. And I've said it before, you think that squash is going to be savory, but it's not. It's a perfect accompaniment to eggs and sugar. Makes it nice and sweet. It's delicious. Now this one, tortinha de so, this is like cakes from heaven. And we had a version of this in Évora, and I did a video on the convent suites of Évora, and we had one there that was fantastic. This is slightly different. Okay, so same filling, softer dough on the outside, and powdered sugar coating. Quite different than the one we had in Évora. Delicious though. That lends a chewiness to it. It's really good. Hibiscus and red fruit tea. Man, outstanding. You can see why this is the most famous pasteleria in Guimarães. Really good. And it's right next to the church. I don't know if you can hear that. Church bells are going off right now. What a great atmosphere here. Behind me is the castle of Guimaraes, and this castle's been here for over 800 years. Unfortunately, it's closed right now for renovations, and no one knows how long it's going to be closed for. There's just a sign on the door that says closed, will reopen as soon as possible. Who knows how long that is, but it's pretty impressive structure even if we can only see it from the outside. And this area has a couple other cool things to see. There's the Chapel of St. Michael, where supposedly King Alfonso Henrique was baptized like 850 years ago. There's also a palace up here, so it's worth a trip when you come to Guimarães to hike up the hill and check this stuff out, because extremely historic and very interesting. This is Taberna, Corta, and totally just stumbled upon this place. We were walking back to the hotel, and this place is awesome. Can't even find it on Google Maps or anything. Came in, asked for a cup of red wine, and this is what I got. It's like a Vino Verde in that it's served cold, even though it's red wine, and it has some effervescence to it, a little bit of bubble to it. It's nice. It's a very young wine. But the thing about this place, total amazing atmosphere. Like we were just talking outside, these are all locals and no English. So, you know, my Portuguese is awful at best, but we were able to communicate, and we talked soccer, the local club, which is called Vitória, and that's cool because our soccer club in our city of Setúbal is also called Vitória. So we were talking about that, and then I asked him about the team from Braga, and he was like, "Braga? Are you kidding? What are you talking about?" Practically spit on the ground, but so fun, so cool, such a great local spot here, and just one of those spots where you totally stumble upon, and you have to say yes. You know, when you see a place like this, say yes, grab a glass of wine and enjoy. We took the cable car up to the top of this hill, and of course we're in Portugal, and what do you put on top of a hill but a church? A church or a fort. Those are the things that go on top of hills in Portugal. This church is relatively modern, and church itself isn't all that interesting, the Sanctuary of Pina, but the real attraction is taking the cable car up here. And Karen doesn't especially like cable cars, although she's taken cable cars in New Zealand before and other places, but you know, she's not a big fan of cable cars, but she was brave, she gutted it out, and we made it to the top. It's about a 7-minute ride, 8-minute ride, and you come over some vineyards and some farmland and some houses. It's a spectacular trip to come up, and it's €750 round trip, so it's worth it. You can also hike up here. I can't imagine it would be a pretty strenuous hike. If you have mobility issues, once you get to the top of the cable car, there are a few uneven stairs, about a 5-minute walk to get up to this Miradouro, this viewpoint in front of the church, so that could be an issue. But this isn't the only thing to see. The grounds here are expansive. There's all kinds of trails and different things to see, so you could spend quite a bit of time up here if you wanted to, but there's a lot to do in Guimarães, so I don't think we're going to spend too much time up here, but we'll walk around a little bit and see what it has to offer. But it is spectacular up here. If you saw our video in Braga, there's also a famous church on top of a hill there, and the carvings along the stairs and on the landings are just jaw-dropping. So if you are a fan of views, check out that video. I've got a link in the description. But this view is pretty great as well. It's a clear day today, so we're really enjoying the views, and definitely worth your time to come up here to this Miradouro and take the cable car. This is Cor de Tangerina. That means the color tangerine. It's a cute name. This is a vegetarian restaurant. It's a great location. It's right across from the Duke's Palace, which is a really cool museum. You should check out when you come to the city. So we came out here, didn't make reservations. Luckily we got in, and I got this potato and mushroom dish. I'll give this a try. Wow. First of all, look how beautifully plated that is. I mean, that is just stunning. Potatoes are like crunchy and crispy. They really like had them in the pan for a while. Probably broiled them in the oven in a cast iron pan because it's really nice and crispy on the bottom. Flavorful too with those mushrooms. Really good. And let's see what these little dollops are on the side. Wow. So vinegary, salty. What's in there? Some kind of seed. Wow, that is tasty. I don't know what it is. Oh, this is like, has a crust on it. I thought it was just came out of a pastry bag. But no. Wow, what is that? Mushroom. I think there's like a beet sauce on top there. And then they've got these edible flowers too. Right on the top, this purple edible flower. Wow. This is amazing. Man, we've had some really good food in Guimaraes. Really good. So what did Karen get? She got the plate of the day, which is an eggplant dish. Wow. That eggplant. How do they do that? It's grilled, it's smoky. But sometimes when people grill eggplant, it can get leathery. It's not leathery, it still has some tenderness to it. And it's on a sauce with some cheese on here. Wow. This is really tasty. Some caramelized onions in there. Pistachio. Yeah, pistachio on top. Wow, really good. Man, these guys, they know what they're doing. This was worth the wait. Really good. I am going to be enjoying every bite of this. Good job, Corta Tangerina. This is the Igreja de Senhora Oliveira, the Church of Our Lady of the Olive Tree, which sounds like a strange name for a church until you learn the legend. There is an olive tree behind me, and the story goes that there was a Visigoth king, and after he defeated another Germanic tribe over 1,000 years ago, he plunged his sword into the ground on this spot and said, if an olive tree sprouts, I'll build a church. Well, an olive tree did sprout, and he did build a church, and there's been a church on this site for over 1,100 years. Now, the church that stands there now obviously is not the original. It's been rebuilt a couple of times. And this olive tree is not the original olive tree either. It's not over 1,100 years old. But they have kept an olive tree here in commemoration of this unique legend and story. You can go inside the church. It's marginally interesting, and it's only a couple of euros to go inside. But the real attraction is this olive tree and the legend that goes along with it. Made another stop at a pastry shop. This one's called Divina Gulish. This place features what are called Convento sweets. And in Portugal, it's a huge thing, Convento sweets. It just means pastries that originated in the convents of Portugal. Some of them 500 years ago, some of them more recently. And there's tons of them. There's tons of convent sweets all throughout Portugal. This one is particular to this city, the Torta de Guimaraes. So we had one of these earlier. Now we'll try this one, compare it. I just love the crispy dough on these. You know, pastel de nata has a crispy, but it's more flaky. This is just crunchy, and I really like it. I love the texture of that. This is another tart of this city, and I think it's the same filling, but you can see how they serve it in this cup. Same filling. That's like a pie crust. Tasty. I can see why this one's named after the city. It is so, so good. If I lived here, I'd eat one of these every single day. Behind me is 34 Restaurant, and this is the only restaurant in town with Michelin recognition. And we just had lunch there, and I can see why they're in the Michelin Guide. Deserved it 100%. We were going to go there for dinner, but didn't work out. They were full for dinner, so they said, "But we got tables available now. You can eat lunch." And we were looking for lunch, so we had lunch here. So what did we have? Well, we started with some bread and olive oil. The Portuguese call that the couve. And I gotta say, I normally wouldn't talk about the bread and olive oil, but the olive oil was so fruity and good, and they crumbled some black salt in there. Delicious. Then we shared a couple of tacos with mushroom pate, hot pepper, and a little decorative flour on top, edible flour. And that was fantastic. You know, it's not always easy to get good tacos here in Portugal. These were excellent, excellent tacos. And for our main dish, Karen and I split a poke bowl that had just amazing fresh veggies in it. Carrots, mushrooms that were sauteed and perfect. Fruit, mango, kiwi. There were peanuts, there was rice, and then there was sauces. There was a sweet chili sauce and just some soy sauce to go with it. It was so fresh and good and delicious, and I was blown away. Beat any poke bowl that we had when we lived in Hawaii. It was super, super good. And, you know, you'd think for a Michelin Guide restaurant that it would be really expensive. And I looked online, the lunch menu and the dinner menu are identical, so you pay the same at dinner. We got out of there for those two dishes, plus the couve, plus 2 glasses of Vino Verde wine for 37 euros and 50 cents. So just around 40 bucks. Pretty good deal for lunch at a Michelin Guide restaurant. Now, if you decide to go, and you should, I would say see if you can get a table upstairs, because the view is spectacular. You're overlooking the square that we're in right now. You can see the church that's in front of me here. And this lively square is just, it's gorgeous. The views are spectacular. So great food, great views, and great price. Man, I don't know what more you could ask for. Really a terrific lunch here in Guimarães. We're at Green Bistro. This is a vegetarian restaurant here in town, and looked yummy online, so thought we'd give it a try. Instead of ordering like a single entree, I decided that we'll order a few different appetizers, and That way we get to try a bunch of different stuff. So, what did we get? First of all, one of my all-time favorites, the padron peppers. And look at these, nicely blistered on the outside. So good. Love padron peppers. Got a little plate of olives here, a little bowl of olives, black olives. So, they're not bad, but I think that's from a can. So, yeah, a little disappointing. Then we got a mushroom pate on toasted bread. Now that is really good. And then finally, I got a little omelet on toast with cherry tomato. Parsley sprinkled on top. Yummy. Nice healthy little meal. Early dinner. We'll see what we have later, but needed to get a pick-me-up, some energy, so that we can keep going for the rest of the day. But this is really tasty. I like this place. We're at Pastelaria das Trinish, and I think this must be the oldest bakery in Guimaraes. It's been around since 1881. This place is busy. It's tiny, but it's so busy. I mean, people are coming and going like crazy. A lot of people getting takeout, people just sitting at the counter, down in a coffee and a pastry and being on their way. So they're going through a lot of pastry. So what did I get? Not sure what the name of this is. It looks like a Danish, topped with almonds. Okay, so the base is soft. It's not crispy. Really tasty. That's kind of different in Portugal. And then it's topped with these almonds and sugar, but underneath what I couldn't see was it's filled with an egg custard too. That is really yummy. You can see why these guys have been in business for 145 years or whatever it's been. Really tasty, really good. Great way to finish off our video here in Guimarães. I have to say, coming up here, I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of worried. I don't know if worried's the right word. Just like apprehensive that it was going to be really touristy, because this is known as the cradle of Portugal, the birthplace of Portugal. And I thought it might be kind of a carnival ride. It's not that at all. This is a working city that just happens to be incredibly historic in Portugal. Yes, the people of Guimarães are rightfully proud of their history. And there are museums and landmarks to see. But it's just a regular city, and it's stunningly beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful cities that I've seen in Portugal. Maybe it's all these giant granite buildings that are here. Maybe it's the beautiful balconies with wrought iron, some made out of wood, some made out of stone. But it's an incredibly beautiful place, and I'm so glad that we wound up coming here. This was not at the top of my list of places to go to in Portugal, but boy, it's near the top of my list of places to return to. So thanks for watching the video. If you've enjoyed it, like and subscribe. We've also got a podcast. You can find out about that at destinationeatdrink.com/pod. I've done several episodes on Portugal and places around the world. You can also hit me up at buymeacoffee.com/destination-eat-drink if you want to support the channel. I'm Brent Peterson. See you down the road.